Yeah, we came a long way. Came a long way. So I'm gonna try to make this quick as I make this transition from speaking on things to doing more outward action and getting involved on a higher scale, on a larger scale. But long story short is I just kind of wanted to give you guys a summary and kind of let you know what's going on and what I'm doing. Not to elaborate much on the plan, but just to show you that there's forethought to the events that you're about to be seen, you're about to be shown. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this event, and this event is going to be the start of something. It's going to trigger other probabilities that have already been formulated in my mind. I've went to the extent of, it's like playing chess, being moves ahead, to the extent of trying to feel what it's like to have that experience and playing with that as well. So this is an exercise in creation, if you will, because what I'm basically doing is hijacking the collective consciousness, if you will, and implanting myself with the higher awareness that I have into the consciousness. And it's going to be interesting. And it's going to allow other people that feel the same way and have the same realizations to speak up, and then people can see that it is real. It is something. So from my understanding, my perspective, and this is things we can discuss, there are states of awareness. Let's just say there is a sleep state and an awake state. Let's just keep it at that. Maybe the awake state is a fully activated and functioning pineal gland. I'm not sure. That's something to think about. Maybe the reason people aren't as awake as they should be and have the connection that's available to us all is maybe because their pineal is calcified, their diet is low energy food that doesn't nourish the body, low vibration food. Maybe it's some of the stuff in our environment that's affecting us. All those things you can maybe attribute to it. That's just one example. But the thing is, what if a functioning pineal, and I'm just using it from a scientific standpoint, we're not going to, what if a functioning pineal will allow you to have access to higher aspects of yourself, or more of your subconscious, if you will, because your consciousness is just on the top layer of things, right? I mean, look at the intelligence that is going on in the background from when you just do what you do, just how you breathe, how, now I may mention, you think about your breath, before your body was taking care of its breath. Your body takes care of digestion, your body takes care of getting nutrients to where it needs to go, to healing, to growing, to all of that stuff. And there is a level of consciousness which is a survival consciousness, which is a lower vibration consciousness, where there's also levels where you can access higher aspects of yourself. And I call it awakening or being awoke because it feels like, to me, waking up from a dream, like life is a dream. And then you look back when you actually have the realization yourself, because there's a part of me that also wondered, are these things these people are saying are true? You know, and why do I have to go to the Himalayas to try to awaken? Well, I think some of that is because of it's less noise there. In this environment, it's a difficult thing to do just based on the bombardment of noise, work, just the pressures that are around us, and that is purposeful, in my opinion. So it does take some effort to take time for yourself and to go within yourself, because all of this is a inner journey, inspiration, inspire, you know, yeah, it's an inner journey. So the thing is, what I'm doing is interjecting the conversation into the consciousness, interjecting the people that are going to come forward. It's just one little piece of the puzzle, and you're going to do your piece, and they're going to do their piece, and they're going to do their piece, and together we're going to make some incredible changes. And it's going to be awesome, beyond my imagination, and the things that I can see in my future. And the thing is, I have to do everything to, like, my path is like I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination. I live a relatively simple life. Like, all of my stuff could fit in my car. So it's not for me about material wealth and all of this stuff. My experience is about service. I feel this information, being a spiritual being, having a human experience, getting access to higher aspects of your spirit is important and will change what gets manifested down here in our environment. What you're seeing now is basically unaware or lower survival consciousness. You're seeing like a step right above animals, the way that we're behaving. We're civilized just to the degree of showing that face, but it doesn't take much for us to lose that. And we haven't got to the point to where we understand the importance of education, of knowing oneself, and of service, of being of service. So I'm just giving you an example of one way that I do that. And there's a lot of thought behind it. And the thing is, I still have to do these things. I have to accomplish these tasks. I have to not just plan the event, but go to the event and perform at the event and do everything that I've already imagined is possible in my head, but it still has to be done. Just like I'm imagining being done talking about all this. And just like Anthony DeMeo said, one day he'll be wise and not try to wake anybody up. And I understand now what he's saying and why he would say that. And it is a interesting position to be in, because it's almost like you're playing a character to be normal, whereas I am normal. You know, though some people may look at me as not normal, the question is why? You know, I haven't experienced anything that you can't, so you're just dismissing me off the rip just because it's easier than you doing the work to find out, because this is an inner thing. You have to go through your own muck, and sometimes that's a difficult thing, you know. And it's a journey. It's going to manifest itself however it manifests for you. And for me, it does it in different ways. I see a lot of synchronicity. 27 is a synchronicity I see all the time. And then when I say synchronicity, just when an event happens that seems beyond chance, right? So, for example, and I keep track of these. And this is something that I want to try to compute as far as what are the chances, what are the odds of these things happening. And one example of a synchronicity would be getting a receipt that was already there before me at a counter or whatever, and the person didn't rip it, so the receipt happened to be from a purchase at 12/27, right? And it was interesting because that wasn't my receipt. I happened to go there and something said, and I pay attention to that something. There's higher aspects of yourself that are beyond this reality. Your consciousness is all, it's larger than you know. Your being side is more expansive and larger than your physical side. So that's the larger aspect of you. When you start tapping into that and growing and evolving into that, you realize that's more real than this. And you know, you realize that just like in some of the studies that just came out, some scientists are talking about consciousness surviving death. So if you realize that while you're alive, you realize that you do survive death. You were you before you were born, and you were you, and you will be you after you pass away. You know, the only thing that's leaving is this physical body. The being that is experiencing all of this through the senses is still there, was always there. So that truth, that experience of knowing that now, you know, and not having to wait till you pass away to be like, oh, well, dang, that's really the case, you know. But you can know that now and not have to get it from anybody else. You have a direct connection. That's the thing. A lot of the religions are just other people trying to intercede or trying to interject or just block or whatever but they're in the way between you and your direct connection. And your direct connection isn't out, your direct connection is in. So they can't get to it anyway, but they can make you think that they can. And that's a big problem, that's a huge problem. And that creates the boxes of belief systems that keep people locked in. And so now I can control your actions by just controlling your belief system, right? And if I say you ain't supposed to question your belief system, that keeps you locked into that box. You know, what's wrong with questioning anything? You know, your belief system is just like clothes. You can put it on just like a jacket. You can change it just like a garment. It's not you. You know, if you are getting your belief system challenged by anything that I say or anything that I've said, it's your belief system. It's not you. Don't take it personal. So I know I'm kind of all over the place. There's really a lot of stuff that I want to say, and we'll see where this goes. It's going to be interesting because really there's been a lot of energy put to get it to this point, and now I want to see where it goes. Where is it going to split? And this allows me to see what I need to do in the next steps for my own personal goals that I have and things that I want to learn and achieve, and also just on the spiritual journey as far as talking about these things and bringing more awareness out there. It's about raising the consciousness of the planet. That's going to be the key to change what we physically manifest, because all this creation is ours. So we can change what we've messed up, but we have to first realize that that possibility exists, right? We have the possibility to change. You know, you do have what is called a pineal gland. It has a possibility to allow you to gain access to something that you wouldn't without it. What is that? You have to see. You have to experience that. No one else can give you that, right? I'm just using that as an example. But we're going to have the event. We're going to see where this goes. And it's not going to be a lot of explaining like this. You're just going to see. I don't want to narrate the thing like this. I mean, I want to put my focus on the more creative stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm standing in front of the thing that you're probably going to take pictures in front of, some of you people. And it's just, it's an amazing thing to think about, to be a part of it. I'm very appreciative that even though I do say the joke that it's funny that someone that's been slept on his whole life is one that would awaken, I thought it was kind of funny. But if I look at myself objectively, and I try to do that, one of the benefits of awakening this character is that I have the drive. Well, let's just look at him at third person. He would have the drive to do this. He would have the capability to do it without any other influence. He would have the capability to relay a message in a way that is multidimensional, because you're talking about video, you're talking about film, you're talking about music, you're talking about poetry, you're talking about art, all funneling to the same truth. And it's really about you experiencing higher aspects of yourself and understanding there's a connection between us. We're all connected in ways that we can't exactly see. So these are all things that I've infused into everything that I do. And this is the example that I am. This is who I am now. And part of what I'm going to do in this public display is just to show that example. I've explained it, I've talked about it, now it's time to show it. And I'm allowing you to see the integrity and the realness of it and the interactions with other people, so that you can see that this is real. And this is something that is what's been talked about. You know, look up the word revelation and apocalypse. What does it mean? Look that up. You can also Google the character that I implanted into the Matrix, Victor Bain, basically. So that's one of the things that I believe I was sent here to do on my mission. And not even going to go into that, but I just appreciate the opportunity, and I will continue to work and do my best, because I believe there's nothing more important than spirituality. There's nothing more fundamental than spirituality. If consciousness is primary before matter, and we're conscious beings, we're experiencing our own creations, then understanding that it's the base, it's the fundamental, it's the bottom, and then you build your thing up here. So you're experiencing as consciousness an ego, which is here. In your ego, it's just another belief system, because you can believe that you were your name, your profession, your color, your race, your religion. Those are not you, intrinsically not you. When a baby is born, a baby isn't any of those things. A baby is whatever name you want to use for a baby. That essence is still there. That essence is still you. That is who you are. Just because these things happen to you, these experiences happen to you, or you did these things, doesn't change who you fundamentally are. And you can still connect to that now. That still exists. That's who you are. So a lot of things going on, a lot of talking, and hopefully I'll be able to chop all this down and make some sense of it. But I just want to make sure I get it all out. And I know I'm not getting into too much detail. I know I'm still adding and not multiplying and getting into to high thought type things. But when one would ask, well, what do you do when you wake up? And I asked someone that actually after my awakening. I went to, because I was looking at different religions. I was studying, I was learning how different people look at that connection with that being, that divinity. What are they saying? Because I understand that I'm only going to be taught what my people around me have been taught and what they have. And if they haven't looked out of their box, their belief system, then they can't give me anything outside of that. You can only give somebody what's in the container that you have. Let's say your brain, your knowledge that you have. So the places that I've went mentally, they haven't went yet. So, and they think they don't need to go because everything they need is in their box, because that's what their box says. So it's just interesting having that dynamic. But I think I'm done here. I think I'm done. And I forgot what I was going to say. But yeah, I'm not going to get into too much detail. So there we have it. All right, that's long enough.